Alright, so, 1, yes, Nexus is working properly again. 2, if I'm going to restart, I need to reevaluate the maps. So this is just going to be that. This one has nice flat edges, meaning buildings can be butted up to the top of the map with no issue. I had looked at this one, and it has a lot of really rough edges, which makes placing buildings more complicated than I want it to be. And I think that's going to be the case with all of them, except for that one. And that one, but it's... At that point, I might as well just use the standard form. But all of these ones have some degree of obstacles. If monsters come out at night, you don't give me a weapon earlier, do you? I'm gonna remind myself of the placement of edges in this one first. I guess you are set to pause at 6 a.m. Yes. Oh. You remember my sound settings, but I have to fix this every fucking time. Not that I need that. Great. That is technically a smooth edge. You are probably a berry bush at some point, so... Oh, yeah, by the way. So, I can block part of it and still have access and see it. I would have to move the house forward one, because I want to have room between. Then you, and then you. So I can fit the 4 across the back without blocking anything. So, the instant build has 2 different shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts. One that gets me into the build menu, and I had the option of enabling or not both, whether or not I have to pay anything for what I'm building, and then whether or not I have access to the magic ink stuff, so the obelisks and the clock. But it also means I can paint things and whatnot and move them right away. And then the other shortcut key is the house upgrades. For the sake of obelisks, there is enough flat space there. And then, for the sake of silos, I don't really have the vertical space that doesn't impede on my foresting, because I can get forageables on them, so don't want to build anything on the grass. Portion of this map, because then I'm obstructing. The options for forage placement. So, where to put things other than the obelisks is kind of messy. Because I prefer up against the edges so that they're not blocking movement, but also not blocking the view. And that's not really viable. Here. Now, that's only a 2x2 block. No. Nothing would really end up being on those, so a 3x3, so one silo could go there and not be in the way. And yes, technically the obelisks being planted on the grass behind the house would obstruct some forage population places. But I want them to be super accessible. So, not hidden off on the edge of the map. So, excuse you. I know both of you have broken up map edges, but I don't remember the particulars, so I'm just going to look at them. Actually, no. I don't want what they have to offer enough to make it worth it. I've never actually tried you, but I do want to look at what the map itself looks like. Skip that. Oh, god damn it. fix this again, because you're shit at this specifically. Yeah, shoo. Because the map is not the same shape as the standard. Those aren't smooth corners, so I can't build in them the way I might want. Now, if I'm tucking things out of the way, a couple of silos there will be fine. Stop flashing at me. Because it's not gonna have anything populate on it, building across the entire line of the back would work just fine. I could. Most of these are smooth edges. I could put some stuff along there. And because this is grass, I wouldn't even have artifact spots populate behind things, which is part of why I don't like having constructed things with space behind them, because until you walk up and behind them, you can't see if there's anything there. I like unobstructed sight lines. At least for places where things could end up. That's where that is, so no obstructing that, but that plant doesn't do anything. How big is this space then? Too narrow by one for that, but I could put 2 obelisks there if I wanted to. I don't really want to, since I can't put the shit that I would want to in the shed. I don't think I'm gonna bother with a shed. I don't actually need to interact with you. I can just hide you off the edge somewhere. How big is your footprint? No, that's not what I wanted. You would fit just right. And then I could extend the fencing that that isn't actual fencing. It's just map edge. And extend down along there. But I'd prefer to keep a coop and a barn together. Meaning they'd end up farther over. The barn is wider than you. Barn is wider than you. Right? It is. I don't have a good way to place the two of you. Certainly not in ways that are particularly convenient. Yeah. You would end up obstructing or having shit behind you. I'm not really liking the shape. Like, it's less bad than some other stuff, but it's not. I mean, the other option with those is if I give them an artificial wall behind them, meaning I build a fence line behind them, so I know that there's nothing, at least in the immediate square behind, but there's more than one unseeable block behind those. Which is why I like having the smooth wall option, which this doesn't have enough of. I am curious about how the nighttime part works for this, but it is not. I mean, the standard map is the easiest one to work with just because it's wide open space with very little interference, except for the big pond in the middle and the itty-bitty one. Well, if I obstruct it such that things can't populate there, so a fence and then paved path, then that would work. I still have to put in more. for the sake of convenience. I know you're blocky, but you're also weird in a way that's not helpful to me. I looked at you earlier, and I know you're wide open. Mm. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to show and talk my way through is I know how I want things to be laid out, and I can do that from the start, so long as I can actually clear the map, which since I can freeze time and my energy and health regenerate, I can do. Except for the stuff that requires improved tools. I haven't gone looking for mods that give me those from the start, so I still have to wait until I have the improved tools to break the bigger rocks and the hardwood logs and stumps. Other than that, though, I can clear things and move things and build things on the first day. And since I can have them where I want them right away, I definitely want to actually have a map that lets me arrange them in the way I want. And that is just easier to do with the standard map. So I will probably end up just using the standard map, but I am going to look up some of how the wilderness map actually works, just because I've never even tried that one, so I don't know. But yeah, that's how I'm thinking about how I'm gonna go about that if and when I do, when I restart.